Before he arrived to disturb my life, I carved out a haven of peace, quite close to the water's edge here, beneath the bowl of sea and sky. Here where the winter winds blow and the river foam leaks spoonful by spoonful underfoot on the marshland bed. The sun rises on a new day. It leaves broad blades of light everywhere. A train pulls away, leaving me behind. I see someone playing cards. I see a table with hands on it. Ipswich crumbles. It heaves and surges. There are chimneys and rooftops. There is a church no one visits. There are fishing boats on mudflats. Now there are open spaces, cold, very cold, with trees that sigh in a breeze that cannot be heard. Someone is looking at their hands. Someone else is biting their lip. A woman reads a newspaper. Life goes on. I am a reluctant witness living on this spit of land for longer than I can remember, listening to the suck, the lick, the click of a loaded gun, in amongst the tidal wash of river stones, content in my splendid isolation.
ඊට පස්සේ මාස 8ක් විතර හොඳ ටීටියා දැන් ඊයේ පෙරදත් හොඳ ටීටියා බලනකො දැන් ඊයේ ගියාම පොලිසියෙන් ගහලා තිනවා එයාට සනීප නෑ එයා වාහන වලට ගල්ගා තියෙන ලෙඩ ඉන්නා මම තල්ලන්න ගියා වටත් තල්ලා ගන්න බැරි වුණා අපිට ගන්න ලෙඩ වෙනවා අපුරුදු දවස් 9ක් විතර ස්පිතාලේ ඉඳලා ආයෙ ගෙනාවා ආයෙ දෙසරයක් මම ස්පිතාලේ තියන් හිටියා ගොඩාක්
I am a witness who does not want to be a witness. Sort of person who has no future plans and remains forever blinded by that unexpected flare of firearms. I was alone, living with my deeply furrowed Suffolk past, wandering through a landscape of moonless sleep amongst the mudflats, in the dark silt at the North Sea's edge, undisturbed by the years, uncaring of time. I anticipated nothing until it was too late. Preoccupied with this heavy loneliness, I forgot to be on my guard. I was living and partly living, engaged in the futile business of daily life. And then he came and he ruined everything.
Surname?
Robinson.
First name?
Maria.
Age at the time?
40.
Was this your first pregnancy?
Yes. I hate what happened next. I hated his determination, his feet crunching without hesitation on gravel, water oozing everywhere, daring to entice me with love. Now I am a witness, and I carry a child who will carry a child who will carry a child who will carry a child until the whole world is bound in the ebony darkness of his hair.
காலையில கேட்கிற பனித்துளி சத்தங்கள், அம்மா தேங்காத ஒரு சத்தம், நிலத்தடியிலிருந்து தண்ணி கொண்டு வர வடிவு, எல்லாத்தையும் இழந்துட்டு எல்லாத்தையும் விட்டுட்டு வார. ஒருவேளை இதெல்லாம் திரும்பி பார்க்க கிடைக்குமோ எனக்கு தெரியாது. இந்த வாழ்நாள் பார்த்த சிறிய வயது பருவம், பாடசாலை நாட்கள், நான் விளையாடின கிரிக்கெட், அப்பாவின் முகம், எல்லாம் குருவி கூட்ட கிடைச்ச மாதிரி நாங்கள் வாழ்ந்த இடம்.
Then, in that moment between twilight sky and night, there was a sudden sound, a startling seethe of birds disturbed from their mutterings, rising. The light fell on the mirror, revealing an image of tide in the shadows outside. Sleep curls off the roof like mist, as day after day we lived the pretence of an ordinary life together. And then, in a voice surrounded by sea, he told me this story of his life and the blown gullegs he collected, the rice his mother made, the mounds of saffron flowers, the white milk of coconuts, his remembered grief, like clear water being poured into a glass. All these things blended mysteriously with the colours of my Curlew's river, so that I, holding fast, listened and was entranced. Fool that I was, thinking I could transform his life. My swimmer had arrived dripping in river water on the dark bone of night. With his refugee talk and his laughter, it was difficult to change direction. There, look, there's my white house lying amongst the trees, and there we are, plunging our way through leaves, listening to small insects burrowing into holes. I can still see that first night and the glimmer of candlelight on an otherwise dark eye. I can see beetles, wall shadows, glasses clinking and moving apart. I can see a shoulder blade, a bread roll broken into small pieces, dinner with fish bones, someone pouring wine. Washing my hair, staring at rain through glass, watching the water boil for an egg, silver bubbles rising from the floor of the saucepan, image upon image from my past, tearing me apart. For how many months, how many years have I watched the dismal days of winter? Each night I would tear up the old day from the calendar and screw it into a ball. In spring I watched the blades of grass waving in the perishing bite of the wind, pretending to myself the weather was improving. In the house in summer, one door banged and then another, and the rose petals dropped from the old jar as I passed the mirror on the landing, registering my age, again and again. This was how I was living. Somewhere a church clock chimes the hour, and I remember how my fear, sudden as a match being struck, slipped through my fingers. I was imagining his possible arrest and deportation, of course. And I knew it was possible for God to turn his face away with the same indifference as he once famously did many centuries before. And I heard, as if for the very first time, the sound of surf, a pebble falling into water, a tenderness changing all things forever. And then, again, when I had waded far out, at last I saw belatedly that I was lost. Oh, send me to the seas of love. I'm drowning in blood. Carry me there in chariots of fire. Take me across the sands of time back to the land of lost content, where memory no longer resides. Looking back, I saw how I watched as the wind lifted up the blind, giving me glimpses of the hostile, outside world. Now I put on my shoes and walk out into the field. The mist is on the marshes. It's a good time for remembrances. There are birds calling everywhere, sailing through the air. There is life going on in other places, meals being eaten. There are clothes to be folded over and over, shoes to be polished, glasses to be cleaned. Why should these things stop? Just because he is dead? Until at last, much too late, sensing danger everywhere, I tried to disengage from the stranger, but already it was far too late. "Go away," I cried. "Go, go!"
ஆனாலும் என்னால நம்பவே முடியவில்லை. ஓ கடவுளே! அம்மாவை கட்டிப்பிடிச்சு கொஞ்சினான். அப்பாவும் கொஞ்சி போட்டு அழுது கொண்டிருந்தார். தாராவும் அழுது கொண்டுதான் இருந்தார். ஆனால் எனக்கு அப்படி ஒன்றும் தோன்றவில்லை. ஒரு நேரம் 12 இருப்பார். எல்லாம் ஒரு ஆலவனம் மாதிரி கிடைக்கும். ஆனா சில இடங்கள்ல லைட் வெளிச்சம் தெரியுது. எண்ணெய்க்கால வடிவா பார்க்கணும், இந்த கழுத்தை திருப்பி தான் பார்க்கணும்.
He told me about the image that filled his phone screen. He told me the sea had been an aquamarine of stillness, visible only to those standing with fingers in their open mouths like crushed seeds. He told me his hand shook and blurred the image as they cried, "He is dead! He is dead!" Trying harder to take a better picture, he searched the white blistered waves and, remembering, described the sarid woman screaming like a hyena. "Is that the victim's mother?" he asked, adding, "What will she say when she remembers how on this fine summer's day they killed her only son, who had escaped from a civil war that would never be won?" This was one of the stories he told me before he himself died.
உண்மையில நாங்கள் எந்த ஒரு நாட்டுக்கு போக போறோம், நான் ஸ்ரீலங்காவையோ அல்லது தாராவையோ அல்லது அம்மாவையோ ஆக்க போறோம் தெரியாது. நான் என்ன பாவம் செய்தேனா? ஓ கடவுளே, என்னுடைய வீடு எனக்கு போக போன போல இருக்கு. நான் பெரிய பிளவுட்டேன், எல்லாமே இப்ப முடிஞ்சு போகுது. நான் காலையில கேட்கிற பனித்துளி சத்தங்கள், அம்மா தேங்காத ஒரு சத்தம், மத்தடியிலிருந்து தண்ணி.
And afterwards, as insanity descended, tearing down what little tranquility I had collected in vessels made for water, I suddenly saw, far, far too late, flying towards me like a thrown knife, that I had become as good as his wife. Look at me. See the blue of my eye, the whiteness of my skin, my hair, my ringless hand, the face of a woman who broke a taboo. Remember, wars have been fought over people like me. We live in the body and see with the body's imagination, and because of this, I am determined the whole world will see what was done.
Was this your first pregnancy?
I've already told you, first and only, first and last. I have no interest in plate after plate of innocent bread and butter, nursery talk, children's toys. I have no room for this child, nor a desire to carry the sins of the Empire's fallen fathers.
பாடசாலை நாட்கள், நான் விளையாடின கிரிக்கெட், அப்பாவின் முகம், நாம் குருவி கூட்ட கிடைச்ச மாதிரி நாங்கள் வாழ்ந்த இடம் எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்துட்டான்.
Still, after everything is over, in spite of the secrets, the whispered doubts, the admissions in private, behind closed doors, of how you feel. Those brutal images of barbed wire fences splashed all over the papers. The pity of the very last thing he saw. Still, you are too much of a coward to take your portion of blame. History changes nothing, does it? Puncture the skin and blood will flow. I saw us growing old. I saw us sitting beside an open fire. Time passes. I appear harmless. A woman of no consequence, rising, cleaning my teeth, leaning over a white basin in a white-tiled room, carrying an unwanted child. Yes, I am all those things. But you are worse. For yours is a crime of omission here in England's forgotten fields. An accidental killing of no consequence, you say. You didn't know him, not personally. And in this way you begin removing all trace of this pitiful mistake, wiping out the past, holding on fast to your stupid beliefs, your labels of fear, your "he's a terrorist, my dear," making it a lot simpler for yourself.
It happened, didn't it? So therefore it can happen again, and again, and again, and again, and again, elsewhere.
Listen, listen. You're a doctor, aren't you? Skilled in listening? So listen now. More than others, you know just what this fetus represents. Why I will not risk more of myself, and that all I want is revenge. I have no need to be a mother at this late hour. This way lies madness. The fruit of a woman who broke laws that are fixed can only wander the earth restlessly. And although history will doubtlessly intervene on a later date, many years from now, when questioning my intention by asking, what were you hoping to achieve? Salutations, integration, United Nations? No answer will come back. Oh, and one last thing, Doctor. Wait a minute. For your information, it matters not that my refugee love was Sri Lankan. He might just as easily have been African, Indian, an Ethiopian, a Moroccan, a Jew from Dresden. The feeling remains the same. Night is falling, the sea is darkening, the sky is closing in, but I remain the witness who can no longer feel, whose life, built now out of steel, is prepared to pay the price for her transient pleasure. Understand then, to live and die in the place you were born is a blessing few enjoy, for all those born from violence can never be repaired in life.